forcing myself all week
Yes.
because in hindsight, maybe
Yes.
my favorite episode of all time wasn't the best idea during one of my busiest months of the year.
In hindsight, maybe not, but also you have been talking about this episode
I know.
since it was pitched
I
late
kn-
last year.
I know. And I could have, if I really wanted to re-traumatize myself by rereading all of Naruto in one sitting,
Yeah,
I could have started ages ago.
you could have.
But I was very on the fence. I was very much, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I want to subject myself to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to subject myself to this. But then life happened. So I've gotten through some of it.
Okay.
But I have a lot of. We'll fill the episode. Don't
Oh,
worry.
don't. Oh, I'm not worried. Hello, welcome to the Yaoi Shelf.
Hi. I didn't realize we were recording.
Oh, we were.
Oh, then they got my little spiel. Hello.
They
Happy
did.
July.
Happy July. It is our birth month.
I am officially older. Amanda is still young and dewy and spry as a spring chicken for a few more days.
Until Friday when we record.
Yeah.
And then the clock turns over and I immediately decompose.
Listen, I'm speaking from experience here. When you hit the wrong side of 30,
Yes.
it's a traumatizing experience.
Yeah, I look forward to 11:59 and 59 seconds on Thursday. And then the second after, my body just turning into ash.
Yeah. Oh no.
So we're celebrating our birth month by talking about something that we genuinely, I think, have talked about every episode since Carola started. And beyond, this is not gravitation, shockingly.
We already did an episode on that.
It was her first request. That's what it was in her bartering package.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the dowry.
Yeah, it was part of the
arranged
dowry.
marriage.
When I asked, she said, I want a gravitation episode. And I said, sure. Not knowing what I was getting it.
I don't understand how you could not.
It's funny. To this day, I don't think I knew back then what I was getting into, but it makes me the happiest I've ever been.
I'm the happiest I've ever been right now. Actually, that is a lie because I have been re-traumatized, but it's fine. Yeah, we've been talking about this probably every single episode I've been in.
This is correct.
But you need to know. I mean, I know you know, and I think that most of the listeners also know that I have been talking about this more than half my life. Okay, this is this is my life. I'm not even kidding.
This is 100% correct. We're going to talk about SasuNaru.
Now, can I just, I just want to point out that I have moved a little, I have moved. I'm still on my couch, but I've moved to a different part of my couch so I can do this. So you can see. If you are a listener only, I have a giant picture framed of SasuNaru.
Carola has enshrined herself in SasuNaru. I picked up a t-shirt and thought I was doing great work. That's why I'm like, let me pick up a shirt, because I know if I don't, Carola is going to come in her Technicolor dream coat of gay.
I mean, I was so prepared to wear I've worn it before, my SasuNaru knit sweater. It has it's not knit, it's embroidered SasuNaru Valley of the End tragic picture. But in a very strange turn of events, we have a heat wave.
I have heard.
It is hot. I'm not complaining because I've been telling everyone this week, shut up. It's my turn. I have suffered for a very long time, freezing my ass off. Now it's my turn. Of course, I've been stuck inside working on convention stuff and not really getting to enjoy this heat, but trust me, I can feel it inside my home. So I am wearing a t-shirt, and if you can hear my fan in the background, I'm sorry, but there is no air.
I will
None.
say, and not because I lack sympathy, but Europe having its heat wave being in like the 20s and 30s is very funny to me living in Texas.
Yeah.
And this is Celsius because I always convert for my wife
Thank you.
because she doesn't understand freedom units.
No one understands the freedom units.
So
Nobody.
it is very interesting to me to like hear, you know, my friends and colleagues in the UK and across Europe like, I'm melting. It's 20 something. And it's like, it's 20 something at night.
Yeah, like we've got 31 today and tomorrow, which is, you know, that's high. And it's especially weird because we usually don't get like it can be warm, like it can be hot because the sun's out, but normally the sun isn't out. It's like normally it's a little cloudy or something, but it's like blue skies, sun's out, no clouds, barely any wind. Very odd for us. We're not used to this strange phenomena, you know. But also one thing that you need to know, and which you probably do know, and I'm particularly thinking about the poor people in the UK right now because no air conditioning.
I don't know how to do it.
And like I have been to the UK during it, like it wasn't a heat wave, but it was really, really hot once I was in London. And it was awful because our hotel room was like we were staying at like an old school hotel, so it's more like a B&B type thing. It was up a set of stairs, everything was carpeted, and the window was facing a very busy street, and it was so hot. It was horrific. Why is everything carpeted? What the hell?
We're not talking about SasuNaru.
No, we are not, but we will. I am excited.
I want to acknowledge for our friends and listeners overseas, especially for taking an antidepressant. Stay hydrated. The antidepressants will get you.
Yeah. Please drink enough water. Get some shade. Do not get heat stroke or heat exhaustion or sun poisoning.
Yeah, please do not get heat stroke. That's not fun. So welcome to the Yaoi Shelf. Grab a seat and relax to celebrate our birth month this month. And also, it is almost France's birthday.
You know who else's birthday is during July?
G?
Yeah, no, that already happened. Yeah. No, Sasuke, I think. Or is that June? Wait.
He's not
He is born.
He's a Leo, isn't he?
I think so. I think it's the 23rd.
Oh, he's literally a cusp Leo, which is why he's such a bitch.
Yeah. July 33. 33? Sorry, the heat's getting to me. 23rd of July, yes.
Yeah, he's a cusp Leo, which explains why he's such a bitch.
Leave him alone. He has his reasons.
I will not. We're so excited to talk about this. And I think what's important to understand is that, again, we have a pretty good idea what our listener demographics are. For most of y'all, we do not need to explain when we say SasuNaru. But remember, this may be someone's first episode.
Good God.
How did you find us? How did you find us?
Honestly. Are you a victim? Are you a victim of the road trip trap?
Yeah, is someone listening to this in a car and you're stuck being their passenger? But SasuNaru is, I would say, for an entire generation of fujin, one of their first pairings.
I mean, you know, I see the internet, like, they're always talking about Aoba being Yaoi Jesus.
It was
but I have seen people refer to SasuNaru as, like, the Yaoi godfathers. Like
Right.
they were like the founding fathers. I mean, obviously they weren't. Like we've talked BL history. It's not like they
Yeah.
were the first like shonen pairing to ever happen, but
No.
for a lot of us, they were
Mhm.
our firsts, and
Yeah.
they have like the impact that they have had is just you can't get away from it.
Right. And I think it's important to highlight that is that for a lot of us. So exactly as Carola said, this is by no means the first queer shonen pairing. We had a whole episode on queering shonen. We talked about our BL history where, Dojin is what helped produce yaoi to begin with, and much of that Dojin started off either sports anime or shonen.
Mm-hmm.
Um but for a whole generation of fujin, SasuNaru was the gateway, the genesis, the start, the journey. And I think it's important to give that some context
Mm.
and to celebrate it and maybe discuss some of its short.
Listen, if I start crying during this episode, like I'm already tearing up. You don't understand. I love them so much. Oh my god.
So this is how we're celebrating our birthday.
Yes.
Um okay, so for those of you who may not know what we're immediately talking about when we talk about SasuNaru, SasuNaru, of course, comes from Naruto, the hit anime, and specifically, it comes from when we think SasuNaru in our minds, it has a very clear end. Most of us don't imagine it as anything past a certain era of Naruto. It is very heavily formed within early Naruto.
Yes, but when you say early, do you mean like the first half, or like are you counting parts of Shippuden?
I'm counting Shippuden.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I have so many notes, Amanda, and I have only read through half of my Shippuden manga. And when I say I read through, like I have said a number of times, I am
Yes.
not emotionally ready to go back in there
Yeah.
and reread all of Naruto. So, but then I wanted to make sure that I actually, had some more bones on this body. So I decided to go in after all. So I've been like for the past 24 hours binging, but I've been leafing through my manga and only reading like the important bits, and I've now reached volume 43 out of 72. So I
Um,
have a lot of notes, okay? But yeah, because yeah, just to say that I have focused on Shippuden
yes.
because that's kind of where it gets really obsessive.
That's where it gets obsessive, but I also think that we can't ignore the seeds being there from
Oh
OG
yeah,
Naruto because
absolutely.
I think the interesting path of Sasunaru is that it was very heavily that flower bed was seeded in the early 2000s.
Mm,
And then I think by the time we get to Shippuden is when flowers started to bloom and we're cultivating
yeah.
obsessively the tulip craze, we're cross pollinating and making all these other things.
Oh my
But
god.
that started with original Naruto, which I've been on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Um, I got to Demon in the Snow, which makes me cry every episode.
Mm.
Um, why did Zabuza have to die the way he did? He was so attractive.
At least it was. I mean, that scene is very beautiful when he's asked
Mhm.
to be placed next to Haku and everything. But yeah, I agree. It's terrible. Although I will say, and I've said this before,
Yes.
when I watched that the first time, I don't even know what I was doing because I was so busy paying attention to Naruto and Sasuke that I didn't even like the whole Sabuhaku thing. It didn't touch me. I did not realize how impactful it was until I did a rewatch, and I was like, was my younger self an idiot? Like,
So I'm going to put a pin in that because I have a lot of thoughts on that. So we're going to
yeah,
put a pin in there. Now, you might notice something very specific about our language here. So Carola and I adhere typically to our old school seme uke rules,
yeah.
where in the pairing name, your seme comes first. Now, there are heretics out there that think that Naruto tops.
You know, there. Okay, I just want to preface this entire thing by saying that we have an outline,
We do.
and it is full of points that I have added that I don't even know if are in the right spot, and I am going to be jumping around like a maniac. I
I've
apologize
I've
in
prepared.
advance. So there's literally, I think it's like the last point addressing this, but
Yes.
I think that a lot of the, if you want to call them heretics, there's a shift between the older fans and I think like this resurgence, because
Yes.
I see so much Narusasu now and so many
Yes.
people using that as like the main, like the way to describe it. But
Mhm.
back in the day, you said SasuNaru and you meant SasuNaru. And then there was
Right.
like the occasional like fic would be out there with like Narusasu. And then you had the people who shipped SasuNaru Sasu, which you know is the, that's the fun thing about Sasuke and Naruto, I think, because SasuNaru Sasu can mean they switch, but
Yeah.
it can also be a delicious little sandwich, which is my personal take on it.
I felt heat prick my cheeks, and I don't like that.
I love
Uh,
it so much. Oh my god.
I don't like what this is turning me into. But it is, yes, there has been a shift in the dynamic, and I think also yaoi conspiracy theory. I think a lot of that is informed by retroactive readings.
Mm.
So like, yeah, if you started with like a Boruto or something like that, which a lot of newer fans are, Boruto is their gateway, and then they realize, oh, this sucks. I'm gonna go watch.
If you're not listening, you cannot see the disgust on my face,
Yeah.
but it's there.
So a lot of people are starting with Boruto or like later Shippuden, and
Mm.
it's like, oh, I don't like this. We're gonna go all the way back because again, nostalgia cycles. OG Naruto's over 20 years old.
Stop it.
So people are going back and looking at their classics, Naruto. Um, and they're using a lot of head knowledge that they had in the now
Mm.
that we just didn't. I don't think so. I think here's an important piece of setting to imagine. So it is probably between 2004 and 2006 that we're doing this.
Yeah.
At that time in Naruto, we had no way of imagining what those character arcs were going to look like. Except for the obvious one.
Yeah. No, I
We
was.
did.
No, and it's like, I think there's a part of me that is like, you know, the part of me that is, we've talked about this, there's such a thing as fandom etiquette. And
There
I am a
is.
very, like, I am tolerant. I have friends, like, this is, listen to me, the white person be like, I have friends who ship Narusasu, okay?
How gracious of you.
I know, but like I don't. But like I have grown as a person and like you said,
Mhm.
not that I've done any rereadings because as we've established, I am emotionally destroyed and I'm not okay. But I've still been engaging with the material since the
Mhm.
manga ended and
Mhm.
engaged with other fans and grown as a person and like I have friends who are such great writers that I have
Mhm.
read everything they have put out and if they chose to write an Narusasu, I would still read it. So
Mhm.
I can see it, like I can see where they're coming from and I can agree that there are parts of the dynamic between the two of them where I
Yeah.
can see this development, but I also want to say that I mean my personal preference is always going to be SasuNaru Sasuke on top,
Mhm.
but also because I think partially I was conditioned because I did get into it through Dojin And
Well,
if you read Dojin
yeah,
in
it was
2004,
always
like it was the most,
Sasuke on top.
yeah, and it was always like the most, like one of my earliest memories of reading SasuNaru Dojin was one of those. Remember, like you remember Setai Hentai, the website,
How
and they
could I
had
forget?
and they had like a collection of Sasunaru Dojins, and I downloaded and read
Yes.
all of them. And there's this one in particular where Naruto's taking a bath, and Sasuke has like put some aphrodisiac in the bath water. It's hilarious. It is so funny.
There's
But Naruto was always so wildly out of character in these, but I ate it up.
yes.
Like he was
Yes.
such an uke coded. Like it was just, and like he's not like that in canon. He's dumb as a brick, but he's not.
But he's not UK coded. I think we've
No.
jumped several guns.
Oh yeah.
Let's try to get.
I'm sorry. I get excited. This is when I say, listen, okay, I know I've said this before, but like when I say OTP,
This is it.
the OTP. Like I can have OTPs in other fandoms, but the chokehold that this pairing has on me, I have no self-control.
It's like, I think we've jumped several guns. So let's try to get back. Here's me. I'm trying to steer the boat back on a straight line.
This is Amanda trying to keep me. Okay, your assignment is to just keep me in check because I don't even.
Because we can
we'll be here all day. This is gonna take so long. Like I said, I read 42 volumes. Like
I might actually have to pay an editor for this episode.
I was about to say, don't worry, I'll do it. But I'm not gonna do anything until after August 11th.
I was gonna say, no, you're not.
I'm already editing a video, and it's taking my life.
like I'm gonna do it. No, you aren't. So okay. SasuNaru, of course, comes from the hit shonen series Naruto, composed of two of the main characters, which is Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. One of the big reasons why we placed order where it is in the early 2000s is informed by old Seme Uke law. So, of course, Sasuke being on paper more mature, he's not.
If you ever needed an example of how immature Sasuke really is,
yes.
It is in that glorious moment where he screams, "You think you're special, Naruto? I'm more special than you are." I'm like,
yeah, they're both dumb as bricks, just in different, different thoughts,
different like types of stupidity on these two. Like
but they're both dumb as bricks.
They're very dumb. I love them.
Of course, Naruto has lighter hair. And I think one of the reasons why Naruto gets so easily uke coded, again, if I'm going back to like 2004, and we're still like an OG Naruto where they're like kids, Naruto's ignorance about the world, because of how he was raised, I think is part of the reason why it's so easy to hit him with the uke beam.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I will say, pretty much almost immediately as fandom started finding older characters in Naruto, the reason why Sasuke was more worldly was because he had previously been abused. There was a lot of that reading around. I think like the second Itachi was introduced, it was like, oh, well, that's why Sasuke is so like sexually worldly. It's because Uchiha cessed.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a horrible answer, but okay, we're 15.
Yeah, but like even if you didn't, like, because make no mistake, Uchiha cest is canon because the Uchihas apparently just procreated with each other, okay?
Correct.
So even if Sasuke didn't necessarily have any relations with his own brother, like people did read it, like some people read it like that, he is still a traumatized child from a very fucked up background.
Right.
And that does things to you. And just like again, like going into, because I just hurt myself in my confusion because I was about to bring in another staple of this show not as an example, but actually as a contradiction, because what you're saying is correct, right? Because typically the dark hair, dark eyed character is often the more semi-coded.
Correct.
But then I was like, but then you have stuff like, hold on to your hats, banana fish, in which, you know, Eiji is the sweet, innocent one. But then I realized that there are people out there who thinks Eiji tops, and then I hurt myself. But typically, especially in this era, like just looking at them first glance, right? Sasuke has this brooding attitude, like he doesn't speak much. His colors are dark, his temperament is terrible. Naruto is a literal ray of sunshine. He's got these huge blue eyes, he's dumb as a brick, he's super bubbly. Like he and you know, he's just, and he is the more childish, naive one. Like Naruto's been through hell, like literal hell, but we don't necessarily know that quite yet. And the way that he, like, one of them, because this was again back in the early 2000s and we're adhering to really strict ukesema dynamics, there can only be one top.
Right, there can only be one. And I think it's important to ground it at the time, because like I can understand the argument in hindsight. Of course, it'd be Narusasu. I disagree with that, but I think I disagree with it only because of like tradition.
I don't even know. I get these like flashes of self-doubt, but
why are we talking about this like religion?
Because
this is not conclave. What the fuck are you talking
listen,
about?
You don't get to disrespect my religion.
I've already disrespected multiple of your religions.
This is like,
I think I know what we're doing for Patreon now.
Oh, okay. I'm curious. For you listeners out there, because July is our birth month and we have decided to give ourselves some time off, we are recording this episode on Patreon back to back, and we and we have clearly made a lot of preparations.
We've also made grievous errors. So we made
don't worry, I make mistakes every day. I'm used to this. I'm a professional. It's fine.
We've made horrible decisions, but I'm so excited. So here's the thing. I think you can track a lot of how early BL existed by going back and looking at SasuNaru. And I want to pick up on something that you mentioned, that a lot of it felt, in hindsight, very out of character. I went back and I found this ancient relic, which is a webcomic I printed out at my school library. That was SasuNaru.
Yes.
And the end of the assumed webcomic is that Sasuke is super abusive to Naruto, and Naruto decides that it is easier to not exist than to continue to be abused. And I thought that was super powerful when I was 16 years old. And in hindsight, Naruto would have kicked the shit out of Sasuke, and there would not have been an argument. So, yes.
Yeah, just continue. I just wrap it up because I'm gonna. Yeah. I have so many thoughts.
I wrap this shit up. One thing.
No, I just didn't want to interrupt you.
I think one thing that is so interesting about SasuNaru, and we'll use that after Carola's done to pivot into how we got into it, was that malleability of it. Is that we, as writer, as reader, as consumer, could put a lot of our own feelings, thoughts, and whatever onto this pairing. Yes.
No, I just wanted to say, because the reason I laughed, dear listener, I do not think that deleting yourself because of an abusive relationship is funny. I just want to.
No.
I just want to put that out there. But the reason I was laughing is because Naruto will never give up on Sasuke. Like, that's because that's the plot. That's the whole plot of the story, right? And I literally just read that part of the manga where he just goes completely ballistic. And I mean, he's insane all the time, but like he will, you know, like he'll continuously say stuff like, even if I have to kill myself, I will drag Sasuke back to the village. He'll be like,
Yes.
even if you tear all my limbs off, I'm gonna find a way to get him back. So
Yes.
even if Sasuke was abusing him, which you can argue that whatever Sasuke is doing in the manga is it's not healthy.
I'll make that
Uh,
argument. Yes.
yeah, Naruto is still gonna, and that's the thing though, and that is also part of what this story is about. Is a
Mhm.
guy who has the most shonen power ever, and he will win anyone over. He
Mhm.
can talk sense into anyone, and
Mhm.
so if Sasuke was being, I mean, I say if Sasuke being abusive isn't a problem to Naruto, because Naruto is the poster child of I can change him.
I
And
also
in most cases, he does change people.
I also wonder, jumping ahead to what we're talking about next month, I wonder if it's impossible to abuse Naruto because
You,
there's just he has a very
oh,
one-track mind. You
I just
can't.
remembered what we're doing next month. Yes. I'm sorry. I've been focusing on this month.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But I think it's important to set that stage. The year is 2005. Carola and I are in our respective Yaoi caves.
I
We
wasn't,
don't,
yeah.
we don't know each other.
We don't know each other. We have not yet been arranged marriaged
No,
by
and
Tasman.
I think by that point you probably hadn't even read my fix. So
No, I can say that with certainty.
I would remember.
No, but like I can say that with certainty because the actually no, because you did write SasuNaru fic. So for all I know, did you always use the same screen name?
I did not. I used many different screen
In
names.
that case, maybe I have read some of your fic, but neither of us actually know.
That's the true secret to our marriage is
Hmm.
whether we've read each other's fix.
We might have, like,
It's
who
a giant
knows?
game of chicken. Like but Curl and I are in our respective Yowie caves, wearing our hidden leaf headbands.
Yes,
Because
correct.
because I have
I have several,
I have several. Um,
and I thought I was going to put one on today to have around my neck, but I forgot.
I did not decide to do that.
You know what else I wanted to put on today? Just
Oh God.
to because
Yes.
last year I cosplayed Naruto for our Constitution Day parade.
Of course you
Um,
did.
I am actually wearing the pants right now. I bought an orange suit, so I'm wearing Naruto's pants. But because I wanted to represent my OTP, I made the super gay necklace that they have with the pictures of each other on. And I have this necklace somewhere. I cannot find it. I have no idea where it's gone. I have it. I was going to wear it, but I can't find it. And I am sad.
So okay, we're in our respective Yowie corners, and it's
We are.
2005. Um, I think I know each of us had our own ways of getting into SasuNaru. But I want to start by saying how ubiquitous it was.
Mm.
SasuNaru was everywhere. And I think for a lot of people, it actually probably was their gateway into BL in general, especially again, if we're talking about that 2000 sweet spot. Um, this was so many of baby's first Fujoshi Fujin experience
Yes.
because of the fact that it was everywhere. And what I remember most about SasuNaru was that it was one of the first times I remember in fandom that fan art was happening both east and west. Because usually it felt like, especially back then, that we were getting these little crumbs from Japan every once in a while.
Mm.
And then, you had your guy friend who bought that How to Draw Manga book, um, the infamous
Yes.
How to Draw Manga.
I
And
have 3 of them.
can I tell you how much of a weeb I am?
Yes.
I have the manga cookbook.
Oh.
So it's like how to make onigiri. And I still use
I don't even know if they sold that here, but
Well, now I know what I'm throwing in your box for your birthday. So
well, if I hate cooking, Amanda. I will never use it.
oh,
I would rather die than cook a meal at this point in my life. I can't.
I used that onigiri recipe up until college.
I can make onigiri though. I can. It's like
Uh,
one.
the one that's 2 ingredients.
Yeah, I can do
Uh,
that.
But SasuNaru was everywhere. And this is really, for a lot of us, the start of the social internet. It has not reached its full capacity, but it is the start of the social internet.
I feel like it was the peak. I genuinely, the internet will never be as good as it was between.
Oh, I don't mean, I'm not denoting in quality, because I agree with you. Like, I think the 2000s internet was the best. But this is really the start of our social internet experience. So sharing had never been easier. Fan works had never been easier. Getting together and fan dubbing, making AMVs, all of that had never been easier. And I think it was that proliferation of fan works that perpetuated the popularity of this pairing. No sneeze.
You're safe.
Thank you. I was surprised you didn't have a ton of things to say after that.
About what?
The proliferation of fan works.
No, but because I'm just dissociating because I'm genuinely trying to remember how I really got into it. Like, and it feels kind of like I went from just like existing to just fucking falling face first into SasuNaru, and I don't know how it happened, because what I can tell you with certainty is that, again, you need to realize, I'm sure that our seasoned listeners are tired of hearing us say this, but you need to realize what the internet was like back then and how procuring things from Japan worked. So in my case, right, again, we hadn't discovered torrenting. So we were using peer-to-peer downloads, but we were using DC++. And at that point, we didn't have, like, the internet was smaller, the demand was smaller, and this was before you started getting like websites that would like consolidate, subgroups or whatever and collect everything for you. So, we'd watch some things here and there, and it would be mostly things you could buy like physical media of, or like obviously Dragon Ball. So we were watching Dragon Ball. And I had this friend. So this was probably in like 2004. And my friend comes over to me and my then boyfriend, we're hanging out, and he's like, oh, there's this new anime, you gotta watch it. It's better than Dragon Ball. And at this point, Naruto has already been airing for a while. So we're actually at the tune-in exam. And he literally just like pulled up a couple of episodes from the tune-in exam. I think it was specifically the episode where Naruto fights Kiba that he showed us. Like, that was how. So I very vividly remember my first time watching Naruto, and then we got all the episodes that were out, and we just binged it from there. So I was kind of like, I was watching it, but that's the thing. Because like I said earlier, I vividly remember not realizing I should be sad about Sabusa and Haku because I was so busy being sad about Sasuke potentially being dead in Naruto's arms. So clearly, the seed had been planted, but I don't think I'd quite like grasped it yet. And I don't know how I came upon the first doujin. I don't know how I came upon, like, why I decided to seek out the fanfics. I don't know how I got into shipping them. All I know is that all of a sudden it consumed my life.
So I have a clear origin story. SasuNaru was one of the many things. So I had been watching, or I had just started watching Naruto, and I already liked it a lot because I looked at Sasuke Uchiha and it was like, that's me. Oh.
I've just watched a video about the literally me guys watching movies.
Yeah, so I was already watching Naruto, and it's like, hey, that guy.
That's terrible.
um, and again, at that time, I was president of my school's anime club. I was very, very social. People knew that I liked anime and manga. And it was in this stack of like printed material that a friend gave me because we would collate materials and curate them like we were in some kind of yaoi office.
Mm-hmm.
But more just like a general fandom office where it's like, oh, here's some web comics that I found about this. Here's some fan art that I found about this. Of course, paying extra for color prints at the school library. I apologize to my previous high school. We
You had to
printed out.
pay at the school library?
Sometimes we did, especially if we wanted
Oh,
color.
we didn't. But then again, our printers, when they worked,
Mhm.
just didn't have color. We didn't get the choice.
The best. This is a slight tangent. The best thing you could do was have like a plant in the library working there, so you could just send files to them. Like we were doing some like yellow tier shit where it's just like passing thumb drives and stuff. Like we were.
At least you weren't looking for a literal brick.
Like we were doing. I have a story about that I'm not going to talk about today. But it was in this like collated material, and it's like, oh, I didn't recognize the characters immediately, but then I was able to put it together. And I think when I first started watching Naruto, I didn't really see the queerness, but the second the idea was planted,
yeah,
it was like, oh yeah, obviously. And I think what's so interesting now is that, and again, like we talked about this with our queering shonen episode, it's a very interesting switch because when I went to like the Naruto Symphony experience with my friend who doesn't ship like that, I very easily said, oh, I understand why we all thought this was gay, and she just couldn't see it.
I don't understand how you cannot see it. Put a pin in that. I have some thoughts.
We're putting a pin in it. But
there's lots of pins. We're back with the murder board in this episode.
Yeah. But she's like, I don't see it. I don't understand how you extrapolated this information. I don't know how you drew this conclusion. And I'm over here like, I don't know if we're watching the same thing because how do you not see it?
Right.
So the suggestion required very little acceptance period. I think also it being a doujin for the most part, or like a shonen pairing, made it a lot easier to get a hold of. Because at that point, probably by 16, I probably had only really read like Gravitation. So I couldn't call myself like a BL fan. I was reading gay stuff when it was there.
Yeah, but like I wasn't, for the simple reason that again, like it's a little muddy for me because it all kind of happened like literally at once. And I attribute this to the fact, again, like you have to think of like cultural and like country-wise context. So, I didn't have a lot to like, there weren't a lot of options. So, and also, again, like I've said before, I didn't have internet at home, or like we had dial-up and I wasn't allowed to use it because it was expensive, and my dad was like, he kept changing the password if I figured it out and refused to let me in. So, I was over at boyfriend's house because they had broadband, right? And so all I know is I discovered all of this at his house on his computer that I would use for hours, so he couldn't use it because I was reading my gay stuff. He was very kind. It was very sweet. But
it's very nice.
He would be like, excuse me, can I play my games? I was like, shut up, I'm reading doujin. I was terrible. It was terrible. But it all happened at once. And, like Gravitation had been published in English, but I hadn't discovered it yet. I didn't start reading that until 2005, 2006, when the first Norwegian copy came out. I did, again, like my first two original BL manga that I got from Yaoi Daily were, Rifle Scope and Golden Cane. And but it was like roughly around the same era. So something must have happened that got me interested in this. I just can't remember what it was. But I also, obviously I was a fujin because once I I latched onto that so quickly once it was presented
Mm-hmm.
to me. But prior to that, I knew nothing. I had no idea
Right.
that this world was out there. And, you know, it was like, so it's all kind of, it's very jumbled.
Well, and I think that helps us move into the next part about it, where we get into some history, a little bit more detailed history, is one of the things that made SasuNaru so great was that it was very easy to adopt.
Mm,
Like it was really it was one of the first times that I remember fandom being unified
mm.
in a decision, because like you've heard Carola and I talk about gravitation. We read the same series and we drew very different conclusions.
Yes. Which is wild, you know, just how.
Yeah, we
Wow.
we definitely did consume the same series, but we drew very different conclusions.
Yeah. And I want to,
Um,
like, I want to say, you know, as a comment to that, that people reading, because I was in a lot of like Naruto like fan circles,
mhm.
and people absolutely had different pairings and different shifts,
Absolutely.
and like there were absolutely people who played around with, you know, with Sasuke and Naruto with other characters, but there
Mhm.
was still this unification
Yes.
in them as the main
Yes.
inescapable pairing. Like you could not, like no one, and again I've said this so many times, like I have straight male friends
Mhm.
who shipped Naruhina, who are mad about how it turned out, because they also, while they didn't ship SasuNaru, they saw it
Mhm.
as canon because it was
Right.
so in your face.
I
So we
think
were all on the same page.
I think that lets us get into some history, because again, we're taking for granted that you guys know exactly what we're talking about,
Yeah.
and I'm realizing for some people that might not be true. If you watch early Naruto, you get some of the finest examples of very early Fujo bait.
Are we going to talk about the kiss?
We have to talk about the kiss. It's
Okay,
our birth
because
month.
I need to make a very heavy disclaimer or a
Okay.
warning. I don't even
Okay.
know what to call it, because I've seen this a
Yes.
lot lately on the internet. Okay,
Okay.
on my internet where I reside,
On your
a,
internet.
on my internet, a lot of people. And again,
Mm-hmm.
we mentioned like the shift in how the old fans and the newer fans are perceiving SasuNaru, but I have seen so many people who attribute the ship to that kiss, and who think that Kiba nudging Naruto on that desk so that he face plants into Sasuke's mouth is
Mm-hmm.
the main reason why we are shipping this and losing our minds over it.
That is not
No,
true.
you need to understand that that is the least of it. Like every time this kiss is brought up, I'm like, it's not even a good kiss.
I won't say it's the least. Okay, I think I'm talking to someone who's made their entire religion this. I'm going to give the average listener a second. Um, I'm not going to say it was the least of it, because for a lot of us, it was the turning point. So yes, I can
It's
see
like
why.
literally episode 1, the
Carola,
turning point.
Carola,
Okay.
we barely met him by episode 1. If we go by episode 1, the pairing is Iruka
Okay, fine.
and
Like episode 2 or 3 or
yeah,
something then.
yeah.
I
So
don't know. I
yeah,
haven't.
so shush. It's not like it's very sudden and jarring, because basically they meet and they don't like each other. Sasuke and Naruto don't like each other. Sasuke because he thinks he's superior to Naruto, and Naruto doesn't like Sasuke because all the girls like Sasuke, especially the girl that he wants, which is Sakura for some reason. And I'm trying to tamper my hidden misogyny with that and realize that the failings that exist in her character are not her fault, it's Kishimoto's fault.
Yeah. And he
So
even
I
admits to it. So,
yeah, so I'm not mad at the girl, I'm mad at the writing. Um, but basically, it took the two most viably interesting and attractive characters in the series and confirmed it was like a switch flicking on and off. Like, I know to you this was an obvious thing from the beginning, but also to the average reader, the click was that kiss.
No, but the kiss is like literally like it has to be the click because they haven't interacted prior to that. Like this is literally like the scene where they first like not where they first meet because they've known each other or known about each other since childhood, but it's our first time meeting Sasuke and seeing them interact. So as far as we're concerned.
Yeah. Well, and we have to keep in mind we learn about them interacting more through their childhood later on.
Much later on.
As of the diegesis of Naruto, this is their first time meeting.
Except Naruto, like, because they are at, like, I always thought the Ninja Academy was a very, very strange thing because clearly they've been in the same class for, like, I never
questioned that.
No, because I think they have, but I can't remember. You start Ninja Academy when you're like 6, I think, and then they graduate, I'm using air quotes, when they're like 11, 12. And that's when they're sent out to kill people as child soldiers. So Sasuke and Naruto have, if not been in the same grade, like in the same class all the time, they've been in the same grade. Sasuke is, you know, a child prodigy, even though by Uchiha standards, he's mediocre, I guess. And but because he also has a major inferiority complex, like Naruto is like he is, you know, the dead last in the class is literally what Sasuke calls him. But Sasuke has this major complex towards his brother and being ignored by his father. So they must have been in the same class, but my point was, like, isn't it very strange to just like send, like, what did they learn anything else? What do they do? Like, I have so many questions about Ninja Academy that has nothing to do with this episode, but I think about it.
It has been 50 minutes. We have barely penetrated this outline. I can't with you right now.
I know.
I am desperate trying to steer this ship in some direction.
I have been trying to steer this ship since 2004, Amanda.
Yeah. I'm desperate to pry the wheel away from you because we're heading towards the rocks.
I can, with confidence, say that this is going to be our longest episode.
Right now, we are full throttle towards that iceberg, and I am desperate to get your hands off the wheel and try to save us.
I'm sorry. I don't even know why you let me do this. Like, this is a terrible mistake has been made.
That was my first mistake, being nice to you.
You should be more abusive. Keep me in check. But yeah, no, but like that was a digression. But yeah, like the kiss is important, obviously, and I do want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that also that we keep getting callbacks to it. Like there's a second kiss, for instance, in that strangely animated whatever the hell that was, and there is a scene. And again, I've said this before. Naruto is like. Sometimes I pick and choose a little bit because like the fillers aren't canon, but then the fillers sometimes really lean into stuff and then I accept them. There's a filler where Naruto's fighting some woman underground and she has like this power. She kisses people and then like that's her attack. I can't remember what it does. Like she steals their soul or whatever. I don't even know, but she kisses them. So she's like going after Naruto and trying to like kill him, I guess. And she's like, "Come here, boya. I'll give you your first kiss." And Naruto just explodes and goes, "Even I've had my first kiss, you know." And then he thinks back to kissing Sasuke. Like, you know, and Kishi, Kishi referencing it in interviews, like about how Sasuke still remembers it and he remembers what Naruto tasted like. So like obviously these things are fueling the fire. I'm not saying that it's unimportant, but like it's not the backbone of their relationship.
And to steer us back, the backbone is what so many great pairings are, which is there is a difference in lifestyle. You know, Sasuke came up relatively privileged, Naruto did not. Uh, both of them have massive chips on their shoulder. Sasuke chooses to be a bitch about it, and Naruto pathologizes that by trying to make everyone his friend.
Hmm.
Uh, they are some of the greatest shonen rivals, and by being shonen rivals, they are also some of the queerest coded characters I've ever seen.
Yep. Yep.
Um, because so when we were talking about like, oh, some people just don't see the pairing. One thing I hear a lot is like, oh, well, they're good friends, they're close friends. Wouldn't you feel that way about your friend? And I said,
Um,
no, I would not.
I no.
I've
I don't even.
never
I've had romantic relationships that
same.
are less emotional than whatever the hell those
Yeah,
two are doing.
I have taken men to bed and invested less in them than Naruto has Sasuke.
It is like, I don't even like, because that's the thing, right? I have this in my notes that at first, like when I first got into it, it was very much like we spoke about in the beginning. Like you have
Mhm.
that trope, oh, they're rivals and they're polar opposites. One's a grump, one's sunshine. Like they are literally every single trope on the planet. Golden
Yeah.
retriever, black cat,
Yes.
whatever. Like they literally embody all of these like things that we love, and like ship dynamics, and you have all of that going. So I think that at first I was kind of just like, okay, they're rivals,
Yeah.
and they opposites attract, and they're always fighting, and then the story just keeps going, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you're like, holy crap. And there's a reason, like when I say this is the greatest love story I've ever read, because this isn't just your average like shonen rivalry thing. I don't
No.
even know, like this is insane.
Well,
Who
I think
talks about their friend like that?
well, and I think one big thing is that also as the series goes on, um, I've been thinking a lot about Supernatural because Supernatural
Oh
turns
no,
20. Shush. Oh,
don't
shush.
go back there.
My sacred religion of Supernatural. Uh, and Sasuke has a very, very similar arc to Sam, where both of them become like mythical quest objects, where they are perpetually being kidnapped, they are perpetually in danger. It is always, it isn't about protecting the group. So remember that pin for misogyny that we had for Sakura? One of the episodes that I've been rewatching is that whole like Zabuza arc. And one thing that I've always found very impressive about that arc was how little everyone cares about Sakura and
Mm-hmm.
how self-absorbed Naruto and Sasuke are with each other. Not just because they feel like they're in competition with each other, but because there are entire fights that happen where Sakura is just in some fuck off corner by herself doing nothing. But the main action is just Sasuke and Naruto. It
Yeah,
is solely focused on them. It is solely focused on their POV, solely focused on the emotions that they're feeling, usually about each other.
yeah,
The scary thing about that Zabuza arc isn't just that there's an 8-foot man with a giant fucking sword and his twink. The threat is, oh shit, what's gonna happen to Sasuke and or
yeah.
Naruto?
Yeah. And and like one of my favorite things, like every so often this post does the round on, whatever social media I am on. I believe it's a tweet. And it's like, can you imagine being in, you're in the, is it like the third ninja war, or whatever? Like we should have said this at the beginning, but major spoilers, I guess, if you haven't watched and or read Naruto. But
Oh my god.
towards the end, here's the thing: I'm a horrible hypocrite because I love Naruto, like I truly really do, but I
Mhm.
have forgotten slash blocked out slash not really cared about a lot of the like lore and like main story, because I literally only care about Sasuke and Naruto's relationship, because that is literally what it's about. And whenever they try to like push some other narrative into the show or like the series, I'm like, this doesn't have to do with, like, I don't care. I don't care about whatever Kaguya was doing, you know, because that's not what this is about. The point is, there's towards the end, they're having a great ninja war.
They are.
And Naruto is somehow telepathically connected to literally everybody, okay? Like, everyone can hear his thoughts. And someone tweets, imagine being in the middle of a war fighting for your fucking life, and then all of a sudden Naruto is just projecting his feelings for Sasuke into your brain, because everyone hears this. It's like they exist in a bubble of their own, but they make it everybody else's problem.
Yes, and I think that is one of the strongest roots of why this pairing really was or had so much staying power, is that it very, very quickly felt like, even though a lot of shonens do have like, oh, the queer coded rival, the longer Naruto went on, the more it felt like, oh, we're just watching this couple come out of the closet.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was Scooby-Doo Monster of the Week, or we're learning this new thing about some new overpowered power that isn't going to matter later, the key focus is always on Sasuke and Naruto.
Yeah.
And yes.
And, you know, and it's like, again, like I keep saying, again, I am jumping around. I don't even know what we're doing, but like,
I'm trying so hard.
But I think it's relevant here, because it is like, when I say like, it keeps deepening, right? Because as the story progresses, you know, because at first it's like, you know, how this goes, you know, it's like it begins with, oh, I just want to be the strongest, I want to be Hokage, you know, whatever, and then all of a sudden there are all of these insane things happening, and like new bits of history keeps popping up, and like people who were supposed to be dead are returning, and all of this stuff. And as this is happening, we are getting more and more and more views into the fated relationship between Naruto and Sasuke, because when like you can throw the word soulmates around a lot, but Sasuke and Naruto are literally reincarnated soulmates. So what begins
Carola, you jumped an entire point.
I know. I'm just trying. Like, I'm just trying to. It's. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I don't even know. But it's just, there are just so many things. I don't even know where to put them, because it's like, it's all. You knew what you were getting.
I really did.
Agreeing to this episode. I don't understand why you're surprised.
I'm so shocked. I'm trying so hard. I'm just still over here, just straining at this wheel. I'm trying so hard. It's like the Costa Concordia. We're just flipped over sideways, drifting towards the rocks.
This is me. Please understand that this is me trying to steer the Costa Concordia closer to land so I can wave at the people.
This is, you're literally the captain who's like, we're going to do a drive-by. We're going to get as close to the land as possible. And I'm the second in command, just eating spaghetti and being horrified. Like,
yes.
You what?
This is correct. Actually. This is literally what this is.
That's what this, just me in the back with my pasta. What? But the pairing is one of the most famous queer-coded rival pairings, I think, in all of anime and manga history. Carola mentioned, again, that, like, there was something about the way SasuNaru was written that it felt very inevitable. You know, typically, one of the things that keeps shonen from getting too gay is a love interest. And Naruto, for all of its poorly written female characters, kept trying to throw love interest at both Sasuke and Naruto, but they seemed to deflect. Like there was like there was a dome around them, because they've had multiple optional love interests.
Yeah.
That aren't just the boring women they married.
But and I think that I do have a note on that somewhere, because a lot of the arguments that I'm seeing now, which by the way, this is so funny to me. I've been here for 20 years and you come onto my Twitter, not my Twitter, because no one interacts with me on Twitter, but you come onto the website where I live and you're like, but what about Sakura? I'm like, what about Sakura, right?
What about her?
Because I am now currently in the process of exposing myself to this reread and hurting myself in the process. And so far in Shippuden, I'm on volume 42, 43. There have been 3 instances in Shippuden where Naruto is like saying to Sakura, like, she shows up and asks him to go with her to do something or whatever, and he's like, oh, is it a date? And then it immediately just dies down. Like, she's still rejecting him, even though there's a point where I think Yamato is kind of like hinting that Sakura's feelings for Naruto have deepened. I think, if anything, if Naruto was to be with some girl, I think I can't even say it, Narusaku would be more I can't even say it. I think that would be more likely, because I think Sakura and Naruto have a really good dynamic. I think they are, their friendship, when they're actually being friends, when they are maturing, I think, is quite fun. Like, they can have, like, I think it's more likely because he interacts with her in a perfectly normal manner. He barely speaks to Hinata. Hinata barely speaks to him. She faints whenever he's near. Sasuke's got Karin, who's literally throwing herself at him, and he's like, ugh, get off me.
And best girl, Ino.
Maybe not if I was Naruto, because I would be obsessed with Sasuke, but I would marry Ino in a heartbeat.
She's perfect. Maturing is understanding that Ino's best girl.
The only problem I'd have with marrying Ino is that she runs a flower shop, and I'm severely allergic to pollen, so she might actually end up killing me.
I'll cope.
Right?
But like, so I've been doing that. One of the other series that I've been concurrently watching because I need comfort is Bleach, and like I've never forgotten that Bleach had like queer ships, because of course like Hollow Ichigo and Ichigo was a really, really popular one and one of Carola's favorites.
And Viaren, my beloved, which I know you don't like, but left me
so much. Though I was watching the movie Diamond Dust Rebellion, and I had a moment where like, oh, I guess Renji is supposed to be cool.
I love
and
Renji.
Then I stopped thinking about him because I don't like him.
I love Renji and his dumbass eyebrows that are actually tattoos or something. He makes no sense, and I adore him.
We're not talking about them. But like, one of the ways that Bleach staved off a lot of that early queer bait was, one, having very, very clear love interests between Rukia and Orihime, and 2, keeping Uryu as about asexual as possible.
Yeah.
Even though that was my ship for a little bit.
I hated Uryu.
I love him. I don't have
but I love him now, because once they started doing that whole thing where he kept getting forgotten about and he just became like the butt of the joke, I fell in love with him. But I had issues with him for a long time.
I love that melodramatic man with religious trauma. Don't think about it too much.
Also, he was voiced by Nontan, Sasuke, and I had issues with that for whatever reason, because like Sasuke voicing a character I really didn't like hurt me, because I was a child.
But it's amazing how other shonen have been able to scave off those gay allegations a little bit easier, but Naruto is never able to shake it.
No.
Like for as many interchangeable women as they threw at Sasuke and Naruto, they were never beating the gay allegation.
And I don't think they wanted to.
I think we can talk about that when we talk about the enduring legacy. Because I've put my pasta down. I'm trying to get us back off the rocks.
Okay. I'll try to.
I put my spaghetti away. and I'm desperate to steer the ship back upright. We're currently tilting at an angle.
Listen, if I had a moment of appreciation for Amanda, because if I got to be in charge of this episode, this ship would be sailing in spaghetti. Like the ocean would be spaghetti. We're just like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
So, I've gotten up, I put my pasta down, I'm trying to pull the wheel away from Carola and get us back on track. I can see the rocks ever closer. I love this became Moby Dick briefly, where it's like, I see the rocks approaching ever closer. We are in danger.
This is literally me with SasuNaru, though, because when I say I'll go down with this ship,
yeah, like, that's your white whale.
This is literally me.
Yeah, that's your white whale. So okay, we've gone over some history. It's fragmented, but we've done it. Please ask us questions during our live, because I don't know what this episode's going to turn out like.
No. And I have I'm not even kidding. I will end up, Amanda.
Carola?
I am going to end up doing another one of those deep dive ass panels, but I'm going to end up doing a 6-hour panel for Citrus SasuNaru.
Okay, well, as long as you carve out some time for us, because we've already been asked back. So, as long as you have time for our obligations.
Of course.
So, I think it's important to say, when we say something goes viral now, we think of it as being really, really popular for a little while. And then I'm on TikTok with the kids. And trends happen very quickly on TikTok.
Yeah. Now we have micro trends.
We have micro trends. So things are everywhere for like a couple of weeks, and then you wait and it's gone.
And then all of a sudden, you are living. You're sitting on a bed of Labubus, but for what?
I
think they're cute, though. They are cute.
I don't like them. They scare me. I think that they look evil. Now, I don't think that they're the ancient Sumerian demon Pazuzu. I'm not that Catholic. I don't think that they're demons.
I have an important question to ask you.
Yes.
If I had a cat and I named it Pazuzu, how would you feel?
Fine.
Okay. So you're not that Catholic?
No.
Because my mom thought it was a very cute cat name until I told her where it was from. And she was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Girl, why would you think that that's where the Catholic would kick in?
I don't know. I just thought maybe it would be like super. I don't know. I've never known another Catholic. You're my point of reference.
Am I your first Catholic?
I think so. Yeah, I know some people who went to a Catholic school, but I don't think they were Catholic.
Your first Catholic. I don't like that. No, I would not. I actually think it's a super cute name, and the first thing that I think about is that scene from Futurama where the professor is needing rescue, and he's like, Pazuzu, and this gargoyle comes out and grabs him out. I have great memories of the demon Pazuzu.
I just think I think it's a very cute cat name, and then it can be like Paw Suzu, like if we could put a little W in there for the pun.
So trends come and go very quickly.
Sorry. Nobody steal my cat name. I'll be very mad.
Oh, the wheel is so heavy.
You can cut this part out.
The wheel is so heavy.
I'm sorry. Okay, yes, micro trends.
Yeah, so when we say things go viral, we tend to think that doesn't have a lot of lasting power nowadays. Like I was on Le Poisson Steve TikTok for a while.
I think I've heard of this.
Le Poisson Steve. Ooh, ah. Il est orange. It's a French song about a fish named Steve. Don't judge me.
Listen, I understand enough French to understand what that means, actually. I'm proud of myself.
Le Poisson Steve is great. So, I was on, Le Poisson Steve TikTok for a while, if I asked a random person now about Le Poisson Steve, they would, like, if I asked my aunt, she would not know what Le Poisson Steve is. But if you were to even walk up to a newer fan, a BL fan, and ask about SasuNaru, they might not like it, but they know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. And
this, yes.
I think you also need to know, like, because a major part of the ship, right, is pining.
Yes.
But we were also pining, because what you need to understand is how long this was going on for. Like, because like right now, as I'm rereading or like leafing, because I'm skimming a lot of stuff that isn't related to the two main boys, okay? I'm just skipping everything else. But it's how quickly things are happening when you're binging a manga, right? Like, if you are a new fan and you're sitting down and reading Naruto right now, you're not getting the impact that was pining alongside Naruto chapter by chapter. And like for the most part, these chapters, because this was Shonen Jump, so they mostly came out weekly, but then there would be times where there would be breaks, right? And there would be long ass times where the story would focus on something else or someone else. And Sasuke was like he was gone from the manga for like years at a time, right? So this was not a blip. This was like years and years and years.
Yes.
Of pining.
It was years of building up this relationship. It was years of fan works that were all happening in an atmosphere that felt, you know, like they say around Halloween, the world between the living and the dead gets really, really thin. It felt like that with the East and West. Like SasuNaru was like this transcontinental thing that we might not be able to communicate. Like if there was a war that had started, it would take us 5 business days to know. But if someone made new SasuNaru, the Fujin network perked up and we all received the signal at once.
This is true. And I think that, you know, this is probably something that we can go deeper into later, but like the SasuNaru doesn't only have like an impact on us as fans, but like on the way that fandom works as a whole, because this was such a massive phenomena that it, for like, I'm not saying that it invented things like, you know, like live journal communities or scanlation groups or whatever. No, it didn't. But it made those things available to so many of us and made so many of us aware. Like, this is why I know Arin Fantasy.
Yep.
This is why I was so attached to LiveJournal. Yep. This is how I learned about doujins. Like, all of these things are because I got obsessed with these ninjas who are obsessed with each other. And
exactly,
like, when I say literally changed my life, it's one of those things, you know? And it's like, but it literally changed the way fandoms worked for a lot of us. And
it did.
And, you know, like, because once that portal opens and you start to find out how you can access, for instance, the Japanese fan artists, you're in there forever.
Yeah. It made a lot of these really like esoteric methods of getting a hold of things so much easier. And its ubiquity, I think, is what helped. It created this like really, really interesting feedback loop where demand was high, so output was high. It's the lie that capitalists tell you about capitalism, but in the Fujin economy, it actually works. Demand was high, so output was high. And I think one of the interesting things about SasuNaru especially is that even as other pairing options became viable, we all still went back to what was our mother pairing, what was home. So, you know, if you can imagine, we talk about ships in naval combat all the time. If you can imagine Naruto being the series being its own giant ship, SasuNaru is the banner.
Flagship!
And then, you know, just because you're Gaara and Naruto, which I was for a little while.
They're cute, though.
If you were Kakashi Iruka, which I definitely still am.
Listen, Naruto's parents. Naruto's 2 fathers, of which one is a mother.
They don't speak to each other for so
long.
Listen,
you do not break my illusion. I don't.
I,
Do you realize how insane that was? Because that was something I think that a lot of us didn't even consider. Like, because that ship was so self sufficient that when someone points
yes,
out to you, like,
that they
Iruka and
don't fucking know
Kakashi,
each other.
they, like, you're right. And you're just like, what do you mean?
Well, and I want to address an elephant in the room that I know our listeners don't need us to bring up, but we do need to bring up, of course, that these are representations of fictional minors. Because I know one of the reasons why I really attached to Kakashi Iruka was like, oh, adults.
Yeah, that was why. I mean, for me, I did ship Kakairu because I think they were cute and I liked the pairing. But for the most
Mhm.
part, I was the exact opposite. If they were adults, I didn't care because adults were boring.
I mean,
But
I
yeah.
but yeah, like that was an interesting aspect of it is that even as the ships underneath grew and the options grew, you always still came back to SasuNaru. That was home. That was the collective energy that birthed us. And I think you talked about the reincarnated soulmates part. Do you have more points about that?
So many. Like,
Okay.
again, I haven't reached that part in my reread yet, so I can't give
Yes,
you any details on that. But they are literally reincarnated soulmates.
they are.
They are like, there's literally, the thing about Naruto's the literal sun. Sasuke's the moon. This is a dynamic that you talk about a lot, but like it's literally part of their imagery. There's like that thing
Mhm.
with the hand tattoos, and they're holding hands.
Yep.
There's the I just read this part, and as the loser I am, I did tear up a little bit because I think it's so. When Naruto's training, Sasuke's fucked off. They have been like I almost said they'd been reincarnated. They have just met because they
Mhm.
storm Orochimaru's base, and then Sasuke takes off again, and Naruto. I always think this is fantastic, by the way, as a side note. Like, actually not fantastic because it was terrible when I had to live through it, but they find Sasuke. He leaves.
Mhm.
Naruto falls to his knees sobbing. Like,
Mhm.
he's just like bawling his eyes out. And while it does turn out that Sakura is also crying, she's being very stoic in this moment. She's the one who's like, she's supposed to be the love interest for Sasuke,
Mhm.
but she's standing there going, Naruto crying isn't going to bring Sasuke back. And he's literally on the ground sobbing. Like, he is just destroyed. So he vows to get stronger. He's going to get Sasuke back even if it kills him. So he starts
Mhm.
training. And then as we're learning about the whole chakra type things, the elemental chakras, you find out Naruto's chakra type is wind. And then you learn, and immediately he's like, oh, so that's why Sasuke has fire and lightning attacks. Like, he doesn't even think about himself. He immediately starts talking about Sasuke. And then he finds out that Sasuke's chakra type is fire. And his immediate thought is, oh, so Sasuke and I are compatible after all. And then Yamato is like, he sees it as, oh, because, yeah, because you just have to remember that fire is, you have to be careful of Sasuke's fire attacks because wind is going to fuel the fire. And Naruto's like, because wind makes fire stronger, right? So literally, Naruto is there to reinforce and strengthen Sasuke, and that is how he sees it. Like, he doesn't even think about himself. He's just like, I exist to reinforce Sasuke. This is the most insane thing I've ever read. How? I'm just asking. How do you read that and not see the gay? How? Why are you laughing?
We're never leaving.
No, we'll be
We're
here
not.
all
We're,
day.
we're
But
not.
I'm just saying, like, I could literally go on. Like, there are so many moments like these, but I think that one is very important.
No, and I do agree with you. Is that there's again like there's rivals that can be clear coded, and then there's just chemistry. I
Yeah.
think one of the really interesting things that happened with Naruto also was because of Kishi's admittedly not great writing of female characters, um, none of the love interests were as interesting as the queer pairings that you could make. So like
Mm.
I don't think we got an interesting female character until Tsunade.
Mm. I mean, I think Hinata. I like Hinata. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Sure.
I think, and again, Ino is my queen, but Ino doesn't get her moment until Shippuden. Like,
Mhm.
she's just like she's just there to be Sakura's rival for the first half of the manga, and then she just like is this kick-ass girl in Shippuden. But I thought, there that fight between Hinata and Neji, when you kind of
Mhm.
get a glimpse into how the Hyuga works, I think Hinata is quite an interesting character, but that doesn't mean that she's utilized enough.
Right.
Like, she doesn't. But I mean, and it makes sense because this is a huge ass gallery of characters. But I do think it's
Mhm.
interesting that a lot of the time the like villains
Mhm.
get like stronger character arcs than Naruto's classmates and friends.
Yes, they do.
Like,
They
regardless of
absolutely.
gender, I think. Yeah.
Um, but I also think, and this is one thing that we talked about with other pairings, the official art and merchandising that we got.
And
Uh,
continue to get.
true.
There was
Like,
literally a new like merch release recently with these. Oh my god! They okay. Can I just? Can I just?
yes.
Can I just scream? Like, a couple of weeks ago, there was a new merch design for Naruto that was released with Sasuke and Naruto as
Mhm.
angels in little
Mhm.
like white like robes,
Mhm.
like angel robes, and they each have one wing on opposite sides. Like,
Mhm.
this is the kind of stuff we're talking about when we're talking about this official art and the merch. Like, they are just leaning into this. Like, it's
Yeah, like, and I think it's like even when I was buying this shirt, all of the shirts that have the characters on it, yes, you usually do get Sakura on a lot of them. Most of the ones I saw were just Sasuke and Naruto.
hmm. And
Like, they are truly the icons of the series. When you think, like, all of my, whenever I think of Naruto, the first thought is like a supercut of all of the times of them just screaming each other's names at each
yeah,
other.
yeah. I think if you made like a compilation of every time Naruto screams or says Sasuke's name,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a long video
It would
because
be an
he
incredibly long video.
spent so much time either screaming his name or just like longingly mentioning him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, I think, I had this thought. You said something earlier that made me think of this, because we talk about other pairings and other shonen rivals, and every
Mm-hmm.
so often there's a pairing that pops up where people will compare them to SasuNaru, and they will like try to get you interested, and it will typically be because they have some of the same dynamics. Like, typically
Mm-hmm.
one blonde and one dark haired, and the dark haired one is broody and the blonde one is, sweeter and more innocent. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the pairings that lured me in like that, or was, Owari no Seraph, Seraph of the End,
Yes.
because, and I, to this day, like, I know that I only watched like the first series and that was years ago, so that might be part of it, but I genuinely cannot tell you what that series is about. I like, they did some of the same things, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. And I apologize if we have any listeners who are deeply in the throes of Ori no Seraph and that main pairing and who can prove me wrong, because again, I am very much out of that loop. But it didn't even, like, most of the time there are similar pairings with similar dynamics or similar characteristics, and
Mm-hmm.
then it will never go that deep.
Yes.
It doesn't compare. It's like it's just scraping the surface of the absolute insanity that is Sasuke and Naruto's obsession with each other, which, by the way, gets called out by other characters all the time.
I think like to wrap up why this went so viral when it did. I think also, yeah, it was the meta-ness of it, because it'd be one thing again if it was just something that like, oh, Fujin are seeing with their Fujin goggles, but the fact that other characters were also very aware of it.
Yeah, like that one frame that's going around all the damn time with just Yamato looking absolutely exhausted because Naruto is once again mentioning Sasuke. It's actually very reminiscent of what you look like half the time when I open my mouth. Because it's like, oh no, not this again. And Yamato is so sick of Naruto's pining. And like I just read the they're both like at this point where I'm at in the manga is both Sasuke and Naruto and their respective teams are searching for Itachi. Sasuke because he wants revenge, and Naruto because he wants to find Sasuke and he knows he's going to find Itachi. So both of them encounter Itachi, and I guess both of them are encountering a fake Itachi. But the Itachi literally looks at Naruto at one point and goes, "Why are you so obsessed with my brother?" And I'm just like, this is a man who isn't even there. And even he has realized after 5 minutes with this kid that he is obsessed. Like,
Yeah,
the call out culture is real. Everyone's just like,
But I think like that added so much to it. And then, in a rare instance where, of course, canon is going to canon, it was such. I know, like for me, I'd stopped long before Shippuden ended because I was tired. But the minute that it was confirmed that like, oh yeah, like Naruto and Hinata are gonna get married and Sakura is gonna marry Sasuke, like at the time I thought those reasons were only misogyny. And while misogyny certainly didn't help, one of the other big reasons why I didn't like it was that it was narratively unsatisfying.
but it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
I am thinking of what you're saying.
Yeah, it wasn't just that I didn't like these female characters, which was true because of how they were written. But that it was narratively unsatisfying.
Yeah.
That was not the arc. That was not the point. The whole point had been Sasuke. It wasn't like Bleach where the point was beat Uryu, and that could be code for sex. This wasn't One Piece where I don't know what any of the One Piece pairings are. I don't watch One Piece that much.
I know nothing about One Piece. Although I did watch a good fan video yesterday because I had to screen the contest entries for Turukon, and it was a very good fan video. I was touched. Do I know these characters? No, but
I also am reminded that I completely understood why my first watch of Trigun, I was like, oh, there's no homosexuality in this. I can understand now why my first watch was so like, oh yeah, Wolfwood and Vash, good friends. Good platonic friends.
I can't even say anything because by the time I came around to watching it last year, I was, I didn't stand a chance. I was surrounded.
Primed and ready for it. And
right? Like there was no...
Because I was thinking, it's like, how did I ever think that they were hetero? And I was like, oh yeah, like you were 16 and stupid, and Wolfwood was like the womanizing character that existed in every show because Comphead exists.
Like you can be a womanizer if you're just in strong enough denial.
Yeah, like because Comphead exists.
I want to comment, and I will go back to this in the live because I really don't want to give out any misinformation. So I will go back and find this interview and read it, so I can correct myself. But there is an interview with Kishi in regards to, I believe it's called the last Naruto movie, which is the one famously where he kisses Hinata. Which for that exact reason I never watched it because I'm a petty ass bitch. And I will admit it, but it was interesting because the thing is, Kishi, we know this. Kishi is now currently working on Boruto,
Mm-hmm.
but he did to begin with. He wasn't the main writer,
No, he
and
was not.
it's kind of like the same with that movie where he did work on parts of the script,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't make the executive decisions, and
Mm-hmm.
he only got involved after they showed him the script and he saw where they were going, because although I think he does say in this interview, which I think is interesting, that he actually says in this interview that he considered Naruto and Hinata to be endgame, which I think is really weird considering, again, the whole thing is about Naruto chasing Sasuke. But again, this is a shonen. There are expectations. However, he said that he had not expected that movie to be a romance and a love story, and he was really surprised that they decided to take that focus, and he didn't like it. And I think that's again, I will go back and read the full thing and try to like, but I just think it's interesting that he's like, do whatever the hell you want with this film, and then he reads the script and he's like, no, not like that. And I'm like,
That's such Alan Moore energy. It's like, yes, make adaptations of my work. I don't care. Not like that.
yeah, right.
That isn't what I wanted. Alan,
I am
you
sure.
told us we can make a Watchmen movie. What do you mean, not like that?
I am sure that if the creators of that movie had Naruto kissing Sasuke and like making it like, he wouldn't spare it a glance, because that's just the manga he'd been writing for, I don't know, 15 years.
So, okay. What has been the enduring legacy of SasuNaru?
I have so much to say.
Oh, gosh.
And so few things, because I can't even. Where do you begin? Like, all of the things that we've talked about, and again, like, but I think we did touch upon it. Like, not only in terms of like the ship itself, but how fundamentally it changed Western fandom, and how it broadened our horizons, and how it reached into so many aspects of fandom life, and became like it's literally become like a legend in and of itself.
It has, and I think one of the big things is that, one, it was so many of our awakenings. This was our step in. Because, like, yeah, I can say confidently I had read Gravitation before I knew what SasuNaru was. I couldn't say that I was a fujin until after SasuNaru, where I was actively seeking it out. I was actively creating it. I was actively part of that fujin economy where I was selling fan works and everything like that. So had I been in the same room as Yaoi before? Sure I had.
Is the Yaoi in the room with us?
The Yaoi was definitely in the room, but I couldn't call myself a fujin until after SasuNaru.
Yeah,
that's where it's like, oh, everything shifted. It's not just, oh, this is here, and I think it's okay, because again, I think there's really something in that sexual politics of Yaoi that we need to talk about, because like one of the big reasons why I liked it so much early on, before I started like doing gender stuff, was just that, especially in the West, it was very heavily considered to be just pornography. So one of the big reasons why I was so into it was that like early edgelord, like, I'm a hentai bro, but with men, like trying to prove a point. Yeah. But we're gonna do a sexual politics episode, because I am fascinated about it.
I'm very for it. I'm how
so
I feel.
For it. The timing of it, again, this was for so many of us our first introductions. It was right at that sweet spot where the internet was getting more social and more open and more responsive.
It's just like, exactly, because again, the internet at this point, like, for me, it was new, because actually, no, because, my first fandom experience, as I mentioned, was as a rocket shipper. I started at 11, visiting GeoCities pages and reading fanfic and all of that stuff. So these things existed, but back then, I want to say like pre-SasuNaru, and again, not like the SasuNaru fandom invented this, but it made it so much more available to so many of us. But prior to this era, like, of the internet, you had messaging boards and forums and separate sites that were connected via web rings. But
Mm-hmm.
when this comes along, this is the perfect storm, because like more and more of us have internet access. This
Yep.
is a show and in a manga that is getting major attention because it is, we talk about the big three, the big shonen three, and
Yep.
Naruto comes in at like this moment, is almost like is very quickly picked up in the West. So we're not only like, obviously we were reading scanlations because we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
read it as it was ongoing, because we didn't have simulcasts or simul translations. But you know
Yep.
it's like it's hitting all of those spots where all of these, like you say, like the social internet
Mm-hmm.
is happening in a different way. Everything is happening a lot quicker. You have
Mm-hmm.
access to downloads, you have access to scanlations. You had the fucking, like, it started with Anime Ambu 1, the subtitle group, and then you had like just like these groups, like subgroups that tag team Naruto, that would have that
Mm-hmm.
episode out merely hours
Yes.
after it aired in Japan. The fandom was so dedicated and so quick and kept, like, it really did self-sustain in a period where we were getting, where everything was becoming easier to access and easier to talk with others about. So
Absolutely.
it's like it's the perfect timing, and on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
it is the greatest love story, like, again, because you can't compare this pairing to most other pairings because it's
Mm-hmm.
just so outrageously intense.
It is. And I think what's so fascinating about that is, you mentioned like the fandom really becoming self-sustaining, and it's
Yeah.
true. I know one thing that especially those of us over here in the West like to complain about are like filler arcs. And like filler arcs, yes, they annoy me, but they were never that bad to me because I was creating fan works.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the filler arcs in Naruto sucked, but me and my friends were doing, there was a Naruto fighting game that I still play religiously to this day. And in the back end of the game, they had all of the sound files for every action in the game, which is mostly a lot of grunting and like
Yeah.
impact noises. We would sit and be entertained by that for hours.
I can again, let me tell you the story about how one day in 2007 someone introduced me to that edited file of Sasuke and Naruto having sex, which is actually just like they've clipped together um various effects and lines from the show, and it's so well
Yep.
done. And it is still my alarm clock to this day. I wake up to the sound of Sasuke and Naruto moaning every morning.
Why are
When
you like this?
I don't even know. It's been my alarm clock since 2007.
Like
Help.
why are you like this?
Uh, I don't know. SasuNaru Life chose me. But yeah, so it's like, where else are you gonna find this? But also, I want to point out, like, again, I also like not a big fan of the fillers, but this was also one of the first series that got this kind of filler treatment. Like,
Mhm.
because I remember for the first, like, obviously everyone loved episode 101, What's Under the Mask, because that's a filler, but it's fun and everyone loved it, right? And then
Yes.
you have the Rescue Sasuke arc, and then they just kind of keep going. And for a while, we didn't realize that we were watching filler episodes.
Mhm.
Um, and then, we became aware of it as a term and as like a thing, and people started getting tired of it.
Mhm.
I think it, looking at it retrospectively, I have two thoughts. One is that I think it was a good thing that they kept the fillers, because I think that maybe they did it out of fear that they would lose the broadcasting slot if they took
Yes.
a break, or like a longer break. And then second, because we see this a lot, right, with these series that like they keep getting seasons. Look at Bokuaka, and all of these like shonen series that are actually getting long serializations, and then it's like, or Shingeki, how long did it take to complete the final season of Shingeki? The final season of Shingeki was like 4 seasons and 2 films. you
Yes.
know and then, but then my main issue with the fillers, because like if you didn't watch them, they were, you didn't have to care about them. My main issue was when they started messing with canon. Because there are a couple of filler arcs that are just like really weird. Like they bring out
Mhm.
this like these people who apparently have like the Kyuubi chakra, and I'm like, that isn't possible.
Yeah, I
That
wasn't
is
crazy
dumb.
about it in Naruto. Typically, like those dumb filler episodes are my favorites because they're usually great opportunities for character building. Like I've always said in the original run of Full Metal Alchemist, the two big filler episodes are my favorite of the series
Mm.
because they provide so much opportunity for like characterization and like seeing behind the scenes and like characters that you normally wouldn't get a lot of screen time suddenly are very, very important. Cough havoc.
But
Um,
I also think like literally one of the best, like as far as Hinata goes, her best episode is a
is a
filler. The
filler
one where,
episode.
yeah, when they find her dancing on the water, that is
Mhm.
so crucial to her character development and how the fans saw her character growth. And it's
It
a
is. Um, but to go back to the Enduring Legacy, one, it is still, if you were probably to look at an OTP list, SasuNaru is still on that list. I promise you that.
it
Um,
better be at the top.
the timing was perfect. You couldn't have asked for a better timing. You know, and I also think one thing that is interesting is this codified what a lot of us later became as fujin, as creators, as writers, because while there of course had been black cat golden retriever before,
Mm-hmm.
there had not been black cat golden retriever like this. And I think Naruto, for all of its flaws, really codified what a shonen is.
Mm.
And it's one of the big reasons why I was so disappointed by My Hero Academia is we have Naruto at home. Um, like you can, like when people talk about Bakudeku
Mm.
and they talk about it like in the same vein as SasuNaru,
Yeah.
it actually like bothers me. It's like no, they are not equals. I get why you think that, but you're
Yeah.
wrong.
No,
And
like
they're
I enjoy Bakudeku for all that I don't engage with it in the slightest, because we all know where I engage in that
we,
fandom.
yes, yes, we know.
My beloveds. Anyway, yes, but like that was my first ship in the series for obvious reasons, because again, it hits all those spots, right? Okay,
Mhm,
these are the two main characters, they're childhood friends, they're rivals, blah, 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 blah,
mhm.
blah. And then, you can see that Bakugo has the potential of either doing a Sasuke and going rogue and turning insane. Like he's already insane.
I was about
But
to say. I
yeah.
was say,
Or
what Bakugo are you watching that is
yeah,
mentally
no,
stable?
more insane. Like I still think this kid is a villain. Like, I mean, I love him. I mean, I love him because he's insane. He is my type of character. We all know how I feel, how I like my characters, insane,
Yes.
and yeah. But like I definitely ship them for all of those things because they hit on those dynamics. But
Mhm.
comparing the two, it doesn't. That
No,
it's not like that. It isn't.
it isn't. Um, and what I think is so interesting about it is like, even when I reflect on my writings, one of the dynamics I always come back to is Golden Retriever Black Cat. I am a
Yeah.
sucker for Golden
Yeah.
Retriever Black Cat. That got codified by SasuNaru.
Hmm.
Like again, were they the first? Did they invent it? No. But that's what sealed it to my soul. Was that. I think also again, like I mentioned earlier, is malleability. Is that
Mm.
you could input what you wanted onto this pairing. And at that time, we didn't really care so much about it being OOC because making it gay was OOC, or at least how we understood it. Don't ask questions.
Again,
You were
no,
there.
yeah, exactly. You have to realize that
Yeah.
again, it got gayer as it
Hmm.
progressed. And when we first got into it, the gayness and how we chose to write it was perceived as OOC, or was
Yes.
intentionally OOC, because we were under the impression that this was just another shonen and we were just
Yeah.
shipping, like we were just doing our regular stuff, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, it's basically canon. And then what I think is interesting about it, again, is that you could form it to however you want it. It's like I've talked about this. one of the things that I usually really liked about SasuNaru was the ability to corrupt Naruto and like them becoming like an evil power couple.
We were not reading the same fics.
We were not.
No, because like I was on the side of, again, I mostly read AUs.
Yes.
And you know, usually shout out to my beloved friend Rasengan22, who ruined all other SasuNaru fics for me, because you are just so good. You are so good. What the fuck? Anyway, it was almost always like either some kind of Naruto saving Sasuke in
Yes.
any capacity, like from himself or, you know, Ninjaverse or whatever, or it was, you know, the typical, oh, they've been friends forever and they are both like separately pining, but they are both idiots about it, and the angst is like that was what I was reading. I basically, you know, like the same recipe over and over and over and over.
Right, but like you could mold it to your taste. So like yeah, like we could be in two completely separate worlds of the same pairing and still coexist. Our root is the same. We still think this pairing is canon. How
Yeah.
we interpret that can be wildly different. And it didn't cause a lot of the same infighting that later pairings would cause like that. Which I think is so interesting is that, yeah, like there was this really like harmonizing aspect to SasuNaru, and it was this really nice stabilizing.
Yeah, because like I remember we've talked about how, you know, I've never been part of fandom drama. I've definitely like been on the sidelines witnessing it, but in like I was in a lot of Naruto communities on LiveJournal, and you know, Chunin was the biggest one. Everyone was in Chunin. I think like literally everyone was there, and occasionally there would be drama and like things. And one of the things I remember there being like there was like this huge nasty fallout when Hidan, you know, because Azuma dies again, spoiler, Azuma dies, which is terrible and broke everybody, you know, like it was sad. Seeing Shikamaru cry is not something I enjoy in my life. But so Azuma dies, and then everyone goes to get revenge on Hidan and Kakuzu, who, by the way, I didn't appreciate Hidan and Kakuzu when they were in their prime, because they are fucking hilarious. What the hell? And but I remember there being this ginormous fallout when they killed Hidan, because Hidan can't die. So, you know, they decapitate him and then they basically bury him. And I just remember the fandom getting into this massive infight war because one half thought he deserved it and the other half was like, this is literally, Shikamaru is a monster and this is like the worst thing they could have done. And it was so nasty. Like I witnessed people on my friends list unfriending each other and like people losing real life friends over Hidan's burial. I was like, what is happening? Meanwhile, in SasuNaru land, everything's fine.
No, it's true. Like, and it was the way to ground the fan. So, like, okay, House of the Dragon is a show that I watch too much of. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna land the plane. I'm gonna steer the ship back.
You got nothing with me. It's fine.
And like one of the big things that keeps coming up while they're this like line of succession battle and everyone's upset is Viserys being like, remember that you are family. Like there's this dying old man who keeps being the grounding point for the Targaryens and the Valerians and all like the incest and affairs that's happening because Rhaenyra married a gay man and had to go fuck a hand of the king for it.
Then, I know nothing about this show.
So, here's the best part of it. So, the HBO show goes really, really far out of their way to make the Valerians of African descent. So, while it was always obvious that Rhaenyra's children were bastards because their hair doesn't line up, it's more obvious because like Rhaenyra is married to a black man, and like all of these children are just pale as the moon. So it's very, very interesting because like the lie makes more sense in the book where it's a little bit more, subtle. It's like, oh well, the kids have dark hair. Well, maybe the Targaryens had dark hair generations back in the lineage, so whatever. We can still have plausible denial. But now, by choosing to make all the Velaryons black, it's like, oh, she cheated on that man. That is, whose goddamn white baby is this? Like, but even when we had our infighting and our struggles, we could all turn and look back to SasuNaru, and that was why we were here. That was why we were on this ship. That was our guiding focus.
Yeah.
It was our Nendo. It was our way of being. And I think that
you might even say it was our way of the ninja.
Yeah, like that was our purpose. And I think that is something I miss a lot in fandom nowadays, is that even though we have this just ridiculous infighting sometimes, because I'm used to the fighting. I was born and bred in the fighting. I'm used to
you come from the battlefield.
Yeah, I was in the trenches. The fighting isn't what bothers me. It's the lack of being able to come together to realize that we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah, and again, like I hate to bring it up because we're having such a good time, but like look at Uchiha Cest, right? Like people just out there shipping, brothers, and writing all kinds of stuff about it, right? And yeah, maybe it wasn't your cup of tea. Like maybe, like I was never like big into it. I did read some fics. Like I think I found the taboo of it like interesting, but I was never into it, right? But like you didn't see people attacking others for shipping it and then trying to pass them off as pedophiles and psychopaths and all of these things that you see today, except during the live journal strikeout of 2007, but that didn't come from within. That was something
that was
else.
Different. Yeah,
that was very different.
That was different. But no, it's true. It's like, because you said, oh, I didn't really do Uchiha. I have a name. Hello, hi, that was me.
No, but like I did write it at some point just to try it, but like
hello, I was there.
Wasn't me, like, but I never like judged anyone for being into it, like,
right. And I think that was the interesting thing, is that there is this beauty in the nostalgia of that aspect of fandom. I think that's one of the reasons why also, again, like it has such staying power, is that we can remember a time where, yeah, we didn't all agree on the nitty gritty. So like, yeah, in hindsight, 20 plus years of Naruto on, yeah, I can probably see how Naruto tops Sasuke. Like I can understand that. If you had told me that 15 years ago, I would have called you a heretic and screamed.
Yeah, like I remember one time my friend, who had been, by the way, on my side, and then one day she came to me and she was like, I actually read this one fic, and I think it was a fic by Anime Head, which was the second queen of SasuNaru. I know you're out there. I follow you on Twitter. We are friends. But yeah, out there. And like I think she wrote, I wonder if it was The Nerd. Shout out if you remember The Nerd. But I think that's the one, and I think Naruto tops in that one. And my friend was like, but I read that and it was really good and I like it now. And I'm like, you traitor. And then she wanted me to write her a Naruto fic for her birthday. And I actually ended up never doing it because I was so uncomfortable with it. But the only way I could figure, like, this was my plan, okay? I don't think I've ever said this out loud before. But my plan was like, well, we all know what my least favorite trope is, right? But I was like, if I'm going to make this happen, it's going to be an amnesia fic. I have to give him amnesia so he doesn't realize that he's usually the bottom, and this is the only way I can do this. But ultimately, I never wrote it. I can, like, again, I can kind of see it now. I can see how you can, and like, it's not like I'm gonna be mad about it the way I was when I was 17, but when there is artwork on my Twitter feed it does hit a little different. Not in the best way when like it's like, why is, where have all the SasuNarus gone? Where are
Well,
you?
okay. You know how old I'm turning this Friday.
Yes.
Most of us are not listened to in fandom because we're senior citizens. Um,
Respect your fandom elders. We built this house.
yeah, so we're not listened to a lot. But I do think that there will be a SasuNaru resurgence because again, nostalgia cycles are really, really interesting. Um, One thing I didn't expect, and it actually makes me really, really happy, was how much a show like Stampede made people go back and watch and read the original Trigun. Because my
Mm.
thing with that is always like, oh, the kids, they only watch the remix and they don't appreciate cinema. Like that's always
I
that's
mean, you're not wrong though.
yeah, but that's always my issue. It was like, man, they only see the remake, watch the original. But people did. They did go back and read Maximum. They did go back and watch the original 96 anime. And we're seeing as Boruto continues to disappoint people.
I mean, I don't. I've said this before. I only acknowledge the existence of that thing whenever there is a very undeniable SasuNaru moment that is presented.
Yes.
Then I will tentatively accept it.
But we're seeing that, yeah, like as that continues to not always hit, oh, people are returning to the old religions and studying those texts. Uh, I never thought that I would continue to see Full Metal Alchemist Yaoi on Twitter in 2025. I do. The fact that I can still see Sparta Cest. Where were y'all? And this was before the shitty remake. What rock were y'all hiding under?
Yeah.
Um that got
You,
lifted when they made the remake.
I think that is like one of the wildest parts of being, now like a certified fandom elder,
You stick across the
and
shop.
like your, yeah, like what is that thing about senior discount thing?
Yeah.
It's like watching the young fans, like new fans who are like 20 years younger than you, discover these things. And like I literally saw this in my feed like last month. Someone discovering Sparta Cest. And I was I was losing my mind. And luckily this wasn't one of those. This was not one of those, oh my god, you guys are disgusting discovering Sparta Cest. This was an appreciative discovery. And then someone was in the comments like, just wait until you see their father. Was like losing, and it was such a fun, like just like seeing this person get introduced to like a world that has existed for 20 years, but they're probably like 20 years old. They never knew. It was beautiful.
Right, like it's existed for 20 years. Yeah, they're probably just now turning 20. They had no idea that underneath the floorboards, apparently Carola and I were there doing part of that.
Right? But it's like
you were there.
And it's like too like, and I say this a lot, like, I complain so much about my age. Like I was literally, before we started recording, lamenting the fact that I just had my birthday and I feel old. But I truly do love being a fandom elder. And I think when, especially like, like when you said it's been 20 years and I'm like, I don't want to acknowledge it, but at the same time it's like a badge of honor. Yeah, it's been 20 years. I've been there.
Yes.
I was there when it was first written, and like and I think that even if you discover Naruto and SasuNaru today, and like you are never gonna feel it the way we did, because that was such a unique experience to follow it chapter by chapter, episode by episode, the pining, the waiting, the screaming, the crying. Right. I did a lot of crying every Friday morning.
I also cried a lot. Oh, one of the pins that I was mentioning when you said the pining. So again, I've been rewatching that like Zabuza arc because I'm learning that I have bad taste in men. This is new information.
This is new to you. Okay.
This is new information that I've never discovered. I have bad taste in fictional men.
This is like Groundhog Day. It's just like you just repeatedly discovering that you have bad taste in men.
I've never once had bad taste in fictional men. It was only discovered recently.
Yes.
When I
Breaking news.
Breaking news. When I called Zabuza husband material. And I remember one of the reasons why that impacted me so much was, one, that very easily could have been Sasuke and Naruto experiencing that death and that loss.
Oh god, no.
So the danger. And then two, that those kinds of emotions could be realized in a show like this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, even for people who are like, oh, you know, Naruto's super straight, it's a super hetero show, please look at Demon in the Snow and tell me where the heterosexual
right. And like, that's, again, this is one of those things where, again, what was I doing when I was watching this the first time? Because I think that this should be the tagline for the entire fucking episode, but there is no heterosexual explanation for this. But when Zabuza realizes Haku's emotions, like his feelings for him, and he like, he literally has the same feelings. It is like there's this whole it's in your face, and it's the most like honest and palpable. Like, it's beautiful. It's really sad. It's fucking like, what the hell? How could you do this to me? But it's just, it's like Kishi literally, I mean, obviously he wrote Naruto, so he did write a gay love story, but it's right there, and it's like the first major arc of the manga. Yeah. And he just put that in there, and it's like never really, I mean, the fandom talks about it a lot, but I've never seen it addressed, you know, in like, because the interviews and things tend to focus, at least the ones that we get translated, tend to focus so much on like the main plot in Sasuke and Naruto, but like there hasn't been, as far as I know, he's never denied anything about it. He's never said anything about it. Like, I think it was like an intentional love story, like that little arc.
It has to be. We would also be here all day, and we're supposed to record in 30 more minutes. So,
right, yeah.
Carola, this is what we get. See, I'm like, let's take time off for our birthdays, and then that leaves us with like 2 days in the entire month to record.
See, this is why. No, actually, this isn't why, but because when I realized I had to put myself through the reread, that was when I started thinking, maybe, like I said to you before recording, maybe doing my most anticipated episode, which I will never shut up about, during one of the busiest months of the year was not our brightest idea.
Well, Carola, you had months to change it, so.
Yeah, but I didn't consider, because I'm an idiot.
You're not an idiot.
I am. It's okay.
You
not. You can say it.
I wouldn't, because I don't think you are.
I think I am.
That sure was not our longest episode, but felt very much like it. There's also a lot that we didn't have time to say.
So much.
Because we would be here, again, checks notes all day.
Let me know if you want me to do a 6-hour panel. Because I will fucking do it.
Let me know if you want me to go dig through my printed webcomics and see what kind of SasuNaru I can find.
Yes. It is I am the one who wants to see this. I am the target audience. Please share with me. I have a little stack of stuff next to me that I didn't even get to mention, but I'll do it in the live. Don't worry.
Yes. We do have a live, so if you have any questions, the live is a great time to bring this up. I had a great time talking about one of our favorite pairings.
My favorite ever. Like, oh my God. I got through it without crying properly.
I'm really impressed.
I'm also impressed because I've been like, see, now I'm tearing up again because I'm talking about it, but like, I've been known to just like burst into tears when someone mentions Naruto to me. So I'm just like, I'm very.
I love this because
so well adjusted.
This is one of those mini scenarios where I think I'm into something, and then like compared to Carola, I am a casual. Because like I thought I was into SasuNaru. I will never be at Carola's level.
Oh my God.
And like I don't feel threatened by that. That doesn't upset me. Usually this is where we'd have like a 2000s dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I must be the SasuNaru on top. But, you know, now that I'm old, in my mid-30s, I can just appreciate my friend who has clearly dedicated a portion of her life.
It's literally insane. Like I don't, and that's the thing though. Like because I do have, I have some obsessions. They can be counted on like 6 fingers. My largest, my most. Of course, we know what the most recent one is. Oh, Kin Porsche, my beloved. But the thing about Naruto is, or rather SasuNaru, is that it's so etched into my soul that it's one of those that doesn't necessarily come up a lot because it's so engraved in the package that it's just one of these things, and it's so funny to me because I'll be like, again, like I'll just be like minding my own business, and then someone says something that triggers this emotion, and I just start crying, and then people are like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "It's a Sasunaru trauma response." I don't know.
And I think that's so interesting is that, for a lot of us that were maybe starting to come into their sexuality and their orientation, everything like that, SasuNaru was such an interesting foil to work through some of those feelings of dealing with comp het and do I really have straight feelings for this person, or are they deeper? I think one of the reasons why SasuNaru had such staying power was for how many of us that love story, that acceptance story felt very close to home. Of, have I just been in this person's orbit for years? And not had any feelings? Or are they the sun to my moon? Are they the other half of me? Are they the wind that bolsters my flames?
It's okay. Oh my god! You can't do this to me.
Every once in a while, Carola forgets I'm a writer too.
You're right in the SasuNaru feels. You will not make me ugly cry on this podcast, Amanda.
Oh my goodness. But it's true.
I mean, it is true. There's nothing, but I mean, I know what you're saying. It's like that's literally what they are, though. It's just like, I don't even. You said it perfectly. I can't. You broke me. Thank you.
Uncontrollably in SasuNaru.
Congratulations. This is what I mean when I say sobs uncontrollably in SasuNaru. There's that, or there's that. There's the fact that I have literally nosebleed over SasuNaru multiple times in my life. Although several of those was me reading the manga and getting excited, and then punching myself in the nose from flailing, and then nose bleeding. I will say I have a very sensitive nose, and I nosebleed very easily. However, there's just something about it.
Facts I know about you. You do.
Oh, I do. It's very sad.
Oh my god.
I can't believe I haven't broken it.
Thank you all for being here during this very long episode. You're here. This was definitely more unhinged than I wanted, but I think it also does a great job of expressing how deeply rooted this is for us and how important it is to fandom. So I'm super excited about dissecting this in our live stream.
Yes, please join us. It's going to be great.
Yes. We'll have that towards the end of the month because I'm taking this weekend off to celebrate my birthday.
You are!
I'm actually taking a weekend off, guys.
I am so proud. Can you believe it?
I know.
Can you? Amanda's taking some time off.
I'm taking some time off to celebrate my birthday weekend, where I transform into an older, more bitter elder fujin.
You'll still be younger than me, so.
This is true, but I think you look better than I do.
I mean, we look so different. We look good in different ways.
We do. This is the part of the show where we thank our patrons. Thank you,
Thank you,
patrons.
patrons. Wow. I can't believe you're still here. I love you.
It isn't our longest episode yet. So thank you to Aria, Hito, Starlight, Kenny, Dobie80, Koval, Sue, Lucy H, Amora Blue. Let's see. Wesley, Lauren, and I think that's it. If I missed anyone, I apologize. But thank you to our patrons. We
Thank
appreciate you
you.
so much.
You will get your episode very soon.
You will get your episode. We might have to talk about that because now I'm realizing time is a myth and I'm tired now.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but you will get a Patreon episode very, very soon. You can find us all over the social internet at the Yaoi Shelf. We're on Blue Sky, Twitter. We're still trying to leave Twitter. Please let us die.
I will never leave Twitter.
I know, but it's so toxic.
I know. But I was there first.
True. Your engagement helps us out so much.
It does.
So please leave us a comment wherever you find this episode, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify. You can join the list of patrons at patreon.com/theyaoi-shelf. Again, that is patreon.com/theyaoi-shelf.
Radio Amanda strikes again. You can join our Discord, where I sometimes make an appearance, but it's mostly Amanda and all the other good folks in the server.
Yeah,
chatting.
it's where Amanda lives for the most part. And Carola pops up every once in a while, drops something unhinged, and then retreats into the shadows.
This is true. And then I think that I'll follow up on it, and then I just die.
You won't. No, you won't. And because it's never something unhinged that's complete. It's always something that's incomplete and unhinged. And it's like 3:00 in the morning my time. So I barely registered it. I wake up, Discord is full of chatter, and it's like, what the fuck happened? Were we hacked? Was there spam? No, Carola just dropped some fictional man's torso and has given us no further context. It has retreated off into the Fjordlands.
I'm sorry.
And I have no idea what's going on.
I will actually drop something in the Discord today because I finally got the final part of my CitrusCon haul, and I'm very excited to show you guys the treasures I have obtained.
Oh my god. Girl, what are we talking about next month?
Unless I have completely lost my train of thought, I believe we are finally doing the Katekyo special.
You would be correct.
The private tutor deep dive. I'm so excited. Not least because I have to do a reread, but it's only 4 volumes as compared to the 72 I am currently not really close reading right now. I love Katekyo. I can't remember anything, but I know I love it, and I'm very excited for us to finally delve into it after vaguely referencing it for years. Don't look at me. You are part of this. This is partially on you.
I don't think I'm innocent in this. But I also remember being so angry with this series.
I don't again, my main thing about this series is the fact that I was so obsessed with it for a while because the second volume was impossible to get. Mm-hmm. And the hoops I had to go through and the blood, sweat, tears, and one arm I had to pay to get my hands on this volume is kind of what I'll always remember it for.
And we will talk about that during the episode. Oh god. I mean, I'm excited to talk about it. Who knows? Maybe my opinions have softened a little. I really don't get to talk, considering how many other problematic, horrible fictional men I like. Real problematic men that I have feelings for. So I don't really get to judge too harshly. So who knows?
I think that either way, the listeners are gonna win Because either they'll have you, having a change of heart live on the air, or they get to hear you absolutely roasting the hell out of a series. Like either way, they're gonna have
or
a
they
great
get
time.
me at my angriest.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be very fun. I'm very excited.
Because before I was mad at Kurose, I was mad at Kaede.
What do you have against the case?
Before I was angry at 10, I was mad.
Can we please, Amanda? Can we do a 10 count episode?
Yeah, right before the Hantu Yaju episode in 10 years. In 9.5 years, we can do a 10 count episode.
God damn it.
We might do a 10 count episode next
Yes.
year. We're still working on that.
I love.
You
need to listen. If you want to understand what the hell that was, you need to understand Swedish stand-up comedy.
What in the horny Bram Stoker's Dracula was that?
I can explain.
Thank you all so much for being here. This episode was unhinged and insane. But happy birthday to us. And we are so glad to be celebrating with all of you. We will see you in the next one.
Yes.
Be safe out there. Bye.
Bye.